Jamal Murray comes up short in the three-point contest, but it's really awesome that Denver has two All-Stars, and it means something for the franchise and the city. I'll tell you why, coming up on Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for joining us and making us part of your day. Being an everydayer, making this your first listen Monday through Friday, and sometimes on the weekend, like here on Saturday night after the All-Star Saturday night events that happened on Saturday afternoon. My name is Matt Moore. I've been a senior credentialed reporter writing about the NBA since 2007. I've been covering the Denver Nuggets as a credential reporter since 2012. I write for Fansided. I write for the Action Network. I write for Hardwood Paroxysm. I write for the Denver Dig. I write for our Everydayers Club. And I'm on Locked On NBA Daily as well. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Happy Saturday night to you guys. Hope you guys are having a great Saturday night. Folks, hop it in the chat right now here at youtube.com/LockedOnNuggets. You can catch us wherever you get your podcast, or at youtube.com/LockedOnNuggets, where we do go live routinely. Okay, on today's show, we're going to talk about All-Star legacies for the city of Denver. I want to get into that. I'm going to tell you why Saturday night was fine from an All-Star standpoint. It happened on Saturday afternoon. It was fine. I'll give you my thoughts on that, with not just my suggestions for what's going to make it better, but also just more of understanding it in the modern NBA landscape. I did want to talk about those start. The one, Jamal had his three-point contest appearance today, and he did not do great. He shot an 18, was clearly uncomfortable, did not make the finals. Finals was way higher. It was a 30, a 27, and a 29 from Devin Booker. Knipple made it because he had to hit one of those logo shots, which I hate. I hate the logo shots. I hate them because they ruin the scores. Like, it should be about how many can you make from how many different spots, and not. I like gamifying most things. I want this to return to just like, hey, there's 5 spots on the floor. How many can you hit? Because like accuracy is a thing with being a 3-point shooter. So not like the best start for Jamal, right? Or not the best performance for Jamal, probably not what he was hoping for. But I also kind of want to like, it was just cool to see Jamal out there, right? To see him not just as representative on Saturday night because like Bobby Portis is there, but like he's an all-star. Like he's on that, like he's amongst all those guys. And it was really cool to see Jamal Murray among Damian Lillard and Devin Booker and all of these guys, because he has been at that level and he's competed at that level. Like I know that's what he would say is like, it's no big deal. I've competed against these guys for a year. I've been on this level. Like I beat Devin Booker in a playoff series, right? But just to see him recognized and to see him active with that weekend is cool. And Denver fans get to be like, oh, I remember when Jamal was in the 3-point contest and was not good. Like they get to have that kind of conversation. From a performance standpoint, he didn't have his rhythm. He just didn't. He just did not look comfortable. He looked like a guy doing it for the first time. There's actually this trend where a lot of the former winners are the ones who do the best. That's why I think Khan's performance was impressive, even though again he didn't actually make that high of a percentage. He just made his money balls and the long range shot. But most guys, like the 2 serious finalists tonight, were Damian Lillard, who won his 3rd in his career, tying Larry Bird and Craig Hodges, which is amazing, off of an ACL, an Achilles injury. That was awesome. That was a really cool moment to have Dame back and hitting those shots. I was really geeked about that. I was like, that's awesome. Devin Booker, who had already won one, and then Khan. So Jamal, if he does it again, if he makes it again, will probably be a lot more comfortable. He didn't really get into his rhythm. He wasn't really comfortable with the spaces. There was like a little bit of miscommunication. You could see like he got a little bit off in terms of grabbing one of them, and that threw off his rhythm. Like Donovan Mitchell, I thought was just like he looked awesome in that first round. He didn't make it because he missed his money balls in the long range, the logo shots. But like his rhythm was very and like Booker's was like he just grab, shoot, same motion every single time. Jamal did not get really into that kind of a rhythm, and that's okay because it's the 3-point contest and it's for fun and it's totally okay. Now, I think what's actually been neat today, though, has been seeing all the pictures and photos. Like there's photos of Jamal and Nikola in their all-star uniforms, which I think is awesome. And they both did media availability today. Jamal talked about how, they asked him again about playing hard. And he was like, if you've watched me at any of these events, the Nike Summit or any of these things, like I go hard every time. We'll see. The guys are gonna be like, no, don't. And he'll probably do the same thing as everybody else. But it was cool to see him on that stage. Jokic was interviewed by DeMarcus Cousins, had a media pass and sat down and asked him a question. He was so excited to see him. And Vinny Beniano noted that's the happiest he's ever going to be, has ever been, or will ever be without seeing a media member. So, incredible. So that's good times for Joker. Joker seems really relaxed and comfortable. He seems to be having a really good time. There's footage of him and Luka with the adorable brothers behavior, hugging each other, always sitting next to each other. That's something for you to think about, good or bad, down the line. The guys have a lot of fun, and I think that Nikola's found a way to. What I was told by someone is that Nikola stays way out in a bed in an Airbnb away from everybody. He stays way out. He doesn't stay at the players' hotel. He stays way out away from everybody and just like shows up for the required events and then goes back and just like chills the weekend. That's what I was told he does. But I'm sure he's out at parties tonight. I'm sure Jamal's out at parties tonight. And I do think that recognition and being on that level and being a part of those weekends is good. I think it's good for them to get the recognition and adoration. I think it's good for them to get the mental break, to get a little bit of a time to have fun and just unwind a little bit and be comfortable around other players that are on their level and other people that make as much money as they do. And so there's a class comfort there. And yeah, Joker talked about choosing his horses over his MVPs. So that was funny. It's a good time. And I think it's been a positive experience for Denver. Now, coming up, I want to talk about some of the legacies of Denver's MVP or all-star performers, the players that have made the all-star game, and kind of what this weekend kind of means a little bit to have two all-stars, and really look back at Joker too, from the perspective of how cool it is for this franchise to have this level of player. We're going to do that coming up on Locked On Nuggets. That's not the right video. There we go. The Winter Games are officially here, and if you're anything like us, you're locking in for the events you only get to see on the biggest stage every 4 years. That's why following the Winter Games on FanDuel just makes sense. From medal counts to individual events to finding your angle on the sports you care most about, FanDuel gives you way more ways to stay connected to the action. The drama of curling matches that start slow and somehow get intense, speed skating races decided by inches, and hockey games that feel different right from the opening face-off. Every niche event becomes must-watch when you're fully locked into the competition, and FanDuel keeps the entire Olympics experience engaging from start to finish. The Winter Games are on, and there's no better way to follow them than with FanDuel. FanDuel, play your game. We're also brought to you today by Indeed. Hiring isn't just about finding someone who's willing to take the job. It's about finding the right person with the right background who can actually help your business move forward. And if you want candidates who match what you're looking for, Indeed-sponsored jobs is the move. Because instead of hoping the right person stumbles across your post, Indeed helps you match with quality candidates by boosting your job listing to the people who fit your specific criteria like skills, certification, and location. You don't want just someone who can help. You want someone who's going to be able to fit into your culture, who's going to fit your workplace, who's going to fit your personality of what you're looking for, who fits the right kind of approach. And that's not always just the hardest working person. That's not always, the person that's most intense. Sometimes you're like, I need someone really level-headed. I need someone who's got the right approach here and has been doing this kind of a job and understands what it takes to win in the long term with this position. And Indeed's going to be able to help you do that. You can get specific and target exactly what you need. And with sponsored jobs, your post gets seen by candidates who are actually a fit. Here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help you get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed, Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Do it the right way with Indeed. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Back here on Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for joining us and making us part of your day. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hurricane notes that I did have Norman Powell over Jamal in the summer. Both All-Stars. How about that? Both All-Stars. Just want to note that. And actually, the numbers are not as crazy as you would think. I think Jamal's been like the ninth best player in the league. You're welcome. I'm sure that somebody passed him along that note and that pissed him off, and now he's here. So you're welcome. He did not see it. He doesn't care. I want to talk a little bit about All-Star Weekend and the Denver franchise. So 15 players with Jamal have been selected as an All-Star player as a Denver Nugget. The list is Dan Issel, who made it once in 77, George McGinnis once in 79, Calvin Nat in 85, Antonio McDyess in 2001. There's a name I remember, Antonio McDyess. Bobby Jones in 77, Kiki Vandeweghe in 83 and 84, Fat Lever in 88 and 90. Only a two-time All-Star Fat Lever was. Allen Iverson made it both years in 07 and 08. He made it 2 years, 07 and 08 with the Nuggets. Chauncey Billups made it in 09 and 2010. David Thompson made it in 1977 and 1979 through 1979. He made it three times. Three-time All-Star, David Thompson. Dikembe Mutombo, three-time All-Star between 1992 and 1996. Melo was a four-time All-Star. That was all, because he wasn't here as long as he probably should have been. Four-time All-Star Carmelo between 2007 and 2011, obviously, making each time. Nikola Jokic is now an 8-time NBA All-Star. He ties Alex English. It was an 8-time All-Star between 1982 and 1989. I think it's, you look at that list and there are some legends in there. Like Carmelo Anthony is a very popular player and is a legendary player. Alex English, I think, gets underrated. Like the more you look at Alex's resume, you're just like, why do people not talk about this guy more? 8-time All-Star, scoring champ, all the things that he accomplished, the kind of numbers he put up. Dikembe, defensive player of the year, multi-time. David Thompson, Fat Lever, I think, really goes under the radar. AI, obviously, because AI was still really good when he was with the Nuggets. But I think it's really now with Jamal joining and Nikola being an 8-time All-Star winner, All-Star appearance. It does fundamentally transform everything, and the title does the most. But it wasn't. I'm trying to think of a good comparison here. Sometimes there are teams that kind of shoot the moon, right? Like the Raptors with 2019. Their best player was Kawhi, who was there for a year. And instead, like, Nikola's become an institution. Like, he is a Nuggets institution. And he fundamentally reframes everything with the Nuggets, and making it 8 times. That's so long. Like, he's an 8-time All-Star now, which is crazy. I was thinking the other day, I just remember when he was this goofy kid he was so funny in the beginning. He's still funny now, but it's different. Like, he was so funny this first couple of years. He was wild and just like goofed around. He was so goofy. He would just do all sorts of goofy stuff with kids in the backstage area, like in the tunnel, because they'd be hanging out with other players' kids, and just like he was a kid. He was a kid. Now he's a man. And it's really amazing to see this transformation of Joker go from a guy that I was very amused at with Rising Stars about how over it he was immediately, to then this now where he's like he's just so used to it. It's old hat. It's, this is just what he does. This is part of his life, is being an NBA All-Star. And I think it's incredible for him to have had this consistency of making it over and over and over. Like 2019 was the first year that they made the playoffs. They lost game 82 in 2018 to the Wolves. And from that season on, Nikola Jokic has been an All-Star and has led this team to 50 win seasons, to 55 win seasons, to the NBA championship, to a lot of playoff wins, to 2 Western Conference finals, to way more playoff series wins than some other players who I won't mention. Like it's incredible that this player fundamentally reframes everything, because I think you can give credit to all these guys that are behind him on this list and still be like, man, it is incredible to watch in real time a guy who is not. I would have thought if the Nuggets, when I moved here, I would have thought if the Nuggets added the best player in their franchise history, it would be a debatable thing at the time, right? It'd be like, oh, like he was a really good player and they won some playoff series. Kind of like Dame a little bit, where like Dame's a legend in Portland, but like Dame's not the best player in Portland franchise history. But they've got a lot of really great players in their history and they've won playoff series. And, you can make an argument for Dame, but you can make an argument for a lot of other guys too. And there was these years where where the Blazers would dip and be out in the first round, or there were these years where they weren't as good. They had the one fluke 2019 Western Conference Finals, but other than that, like didn't win as much. Versus like in real time, that it's been 3 years since the title this June. And I've known for 4 years that this is the best player in franchise history. That's crazy. That's absolutely amazing. That All-Star, I think, is a good reminder. I don't think that All-Star anymore should be used as a qualifier for Hall of Fame. I think it should just be All-NBA, because the game has gotten so messed up in terms of, like, this is a good example. This year's a great example of it because of the World versus Team USA stuff, where it's like, okay, some of these guys are clearly in just so they can fill out the the international roster. And like, that's what I think is actually a little bit unfortunate about Jamal making it this year is, like, I think Jamal's been the 9th best player in the NBA. I think in the end of everyone who's played, I think Jamal has had the 9th best season. And anyone that is ever like, well, yeah, he got in because he was Canadian, I'm going to be like, no, he would have made it in anyway. But to look at this and just kind of realize that All-Star is so often kind of cycled as a player's resume of greatness, and Nikola's done it 8 times, and he's going to wind up having done it a decade. That's insane. Knock on wood. And it took, it took Jamal until 10 years in to do this, but he made it. I always thought that the stuff was overrated about why Nikola Jokic never played with another All-Star, As an example, Bam Adebayo has now played with an All-Star. Bam Adebayo has played with several All-Stars, Jimmy Butler, but also like this year, Bam Adebayo is playing with an All-Star this year because he's playing with Norman Powell. Right? The Rockets have 2 All-Stars, Kevin Durant and Alperen Sengun, but like Alperen Sengun's not like an All-Star this year. Right? But Jamal made it. And he silenced that part. He checked that box off for him. And I think that that's great. I think that's absolutely terrific. And tomorrow on Sunday, you're going to get to see 2 of your stars from the Denver Nuggets in the All-Star game in this weird format that no one quite understands. And I think that that's really incredible and it's worth celebrating. So I want to take a moment to kind of recognize it. Coming up, I'll give you my thoughts on NBA All-Star Saturday night and why I am at peace with the death of All-Star Weekend. That's up next on Locked On Nuggets. There's nothing like being in an NBA arena, the crowd, the energy, the moment. Getting tickets, though, well, that part's not always so simple. It's why Game Time has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast without the hassle. It puts the advantage back where it belongs, with the fans. You pull up the Game Time app, pick an upcoming NBA game, and you're going to have tickets locked in within minutes. You're going to see all the price up front. There's no hidden fees. That stuff drives me nuts. So not having that is a big reason why I always go with Game Time. Being able to see the view from the seat, that's huge. I find that most important in hockey, where like I really want to be able to know where I'm sitting, so where I'm going to be able to see what I'm going to see on the ice. My wife, who is an absolute Avalanche psycho and a devoted Locked On Avalanche listener, wants to go to some games, so we're scoping out those. And guess what we're using? We're using Game Time. Everything feels quick, intuitive, and stress-free from start to finish. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That's code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. And remember, it's gametime.co, not .com. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Back here on Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for joining us and making us part of your day. Appreciate you guys. Okay. Chat is talking about trading Christian Brown, which is funny. Christian's play better. Stop it. NBA Saturday night was on Saturday afternoon. Started at 3 p.m. Mountain. They led with the 3-point contest, which I thought was an odd choice. I didn't mind it because it was kind of like, hey, here's like the most exciting part. And then we're like, well, we're already watching, so we'll just go ahead and watch the rest of this stuff. The 3-point contest was great. From Damian Lillard winning is a great narrative thing. If Booker had won, I actually would have been very happy for him. I think the season has been incredible for Booker in terms of like kind of rehabbing his image. Booker has had so much fun this season and is leading a really scrappy squad. Like I like Devin Booker, I think more than I've liked him ever in his career this year. His numbers aren't there, but he's playing, I think, the right way. Khan putting his name on the map, I think, is really cool. I actually like the Shooting Stars competition. I always liked it when they did this, when it was just layup, 3-point, half court. I like that because it was like they would do an NBA player, a WNBA player, and a legend. And it was really cool seeing like Corey Maggette come out there and knocking down shots for Team Cameron today. Allen Houston was a supernova for that team. I like that better than the skills competition, which guys were always like so lackadaisical with it. And I like seeing the ability to hit from range. One of the things that was funny is when I did the analysis for that, when I was doing stuff for Action Network, all the shots were on the right side. You had the goofy influencers throwing from the left and celebrities throwing from the left side. And I was like, why? I wanted them to bring in like a WWE performer and have him chuck it. Like I wanted to see like Roman Reigns, like chucking these balls at their heads, but all of the shots were on the right side. I looked at all the data. None of these guys were good from the right side. Like Jalen Johnson shoots 10% worse from the right than the left. That's a big reason why that team struggled in the final. So seeing like how they chose that, I thought was odd, but I actually kind of like the Shooting Stars competition. It was all right. I like teams of shooters. If they expanded it more, I might actually like it a little bit more. I want like 4 guys and then 4 NBA players and then a all-star or a former legend. I think that would be cool. Throwing in a WNBA player would be really good too. Everybody's talked about how they want to bring back Sabrina versus Steph. I do understand one of the reasons with it is like it plays into a bunch of ugly stereotypes on all sides. And then the other thing is once you make it so much about Caitlyn that like Caitlyn has an ongoing problem with how the other players feel about her popularity, and her fans are a problem with that too. So I don't blame them for avoiding that, but and Steph was hurt this year anyway, but it would be cool to get the WNBA involved in this event a little bit more, although it'd be tricky right now because of the CBA. Dunk contest I thought was fine. Dylan Carter tried to decapitate himself. No, sorry, Devin Carter. Carter Bryant. That's what I'm thinking of. I thought Keyshawn Johnson was actually phenomenal. I thought he was going to be good, and he was. I thought Jackson Hayes was going to be terrible, and he was. So I thought it was fine. There is a part of this where everyone's going to be negative about it because 1, most of us online are negative anyway. And 2, that it has to be people you recognize. You have to have somebody that you want to cheer for. Like I want Ant to win, or I want LeBron to win. I want one of these guys. So, I think it was fine. It's tough because, I've been doing this for so long. There were all these photos from Friday night of the Rising Stars game and how no one was there. Like all these photos, like there's nobody here. What have they done? That's how it's always been. I've been to like 12 of those. No one's ever there. Like no one's ever there because the NBA gives these tickets to corporate sponsors. They dole them out in mass quantities to their corporate sponsors. They don't advertise a Rising Stars game. There's no reason. People will be seeking them out. And then they give them out to their corporate sponsors, and the corporate sponsors don't go because they're going to mix-ins and luncheons, or they're going to mixers and parties. There's a million parties on All-Star Weekend. It's a party town. The best, I've said this consistently, the best part of All-Star Weekend is everything outside of the events. My personal favorite, and okay, not personal favorite. My personal favorite are both of the events I went to in New Orleans. New Orleans is, if you're going to have a weekend of nothing but cool events and parties and everyone having a good time, New Orleans is unmatched. They handle the event great. It's easy to get around. There's lots of places for people to put the installations and stuff that they put in. The event does work. You have the Superdome for spillover. The food's great. It's amazing. Never going to find me I've never had a bad time in New Orleans. But the best one for basketball was Chicago, because it was like Chicago was able to really lean into the celebration of basketball standpoint. And that's what this weekend should be about, is this cultural celebration of basketball, music, art, culture, film, fashion, which obviously I'm big into. Look at me. All of these things, but it doesn't matter that I'm not into those things. I can still think it's awesome that they have these. They always have these large fan events. Like the one in Chicago featured local creators all giving, like, local artists all with interpretive stuff about basketball. And it was just like this giant hall of art, which was amazing, which is really cool. And you had, obviously with it being Chicago, Jordan brand put in this huge installation showing the history of Jordan brand, including photos that you'd never seen before from Nike's personal photographer. It was amazing. These are all like the little things that they're able to do, and you can't show that on television. The best part about All-Star Weekend is being there and seeing all the stuff outside of the arena. That's really cool. But between how much the game sucks now, and I saw KD being like, he's made comments today of, I've been watching those and I don't think it was that blah 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 blah. There's degrees here, and it really is different. Like, I would just say, like, it is different, and maybe it's a perception thing, but they have not managed to put us into a place where we feel like it's different. Like, they've managed to put us in a place where it feels like they don't care. I'm writing a lot for this piece on Paroxysm about Adam Silver and the changeover from Stern to him, and their role and how they view their job in relation to the owners, which is, Stern viewed himself as, he served at the discretion of the board of governors. And there are things that he had to do that they wanted. But Stern saw himself as a leader of basketball. Like, his job was to care for and nurture the league and the game of basketball. And he was the one that started this is a players league. He was the one that started, we're going to be built around individual stars. That was David Stern that did that. He was the one that led that. Jordan doesn't become Jordan if the league doesn't lean into it. Magic doesn't become Magic if Stern doesn't lean into it. LeBron benefited from the framework that Stern put into place. And Silver has gone much more towards the route of, I work for the owners. That's what I do. I represent the owners. And that causes problems. And the reason I bring this up, okay, is that there is a difficulty now, I think, in navigating a lot of the factors that have caused this effort slippage, which a lot of it in the NBA, the injuries are a part of it. The space and pace of the game is part of it. Huge parts, the biggest parts. There's also a simple matter of, the players make so much money now, it is incomprehensible. Like, how do you tell, like, it's one thing to be like, hey, you making $2 million a year, we're going to need you to go out here and compete a little bit. They're going to be like, all right, sure. Want to keep this good? This is a gravy train. Sure. You tell someone who's making $50 million guaranteed and $200 million over the next 4 years. How do you tell them anything? How do you tell that man anything? and I'm not suggesting we need to reduce salaries. It's just a reality of like that's the market value. They've earned it. They're the best players in the world. But it causes, I think, problems with some of this stuff. There's so much money on the table, it's incomprehensible. So I say all this to say I do think All-Star Weekend is irredeemable, and I don't know what it's going to take it back. Even if Victor Wembanyama comes out tomorrow and tries to play hard, the other guys are just going to like laugh and shrug at him because there's a little bit of a cool kids club effect to the All-Star Weekend, and Joker's part of that now, which I think is funny because I don't think he was early on, but he is now. It will still be awesome to see Jamal introduced tomorrow as an all-star. It'll be great to see Joker introduced as an all-star. He will throw lobs. He will do cool stuff. He and Jamal will run a little two-man game. I like team stars in the competition. I think their roster is actually really well balanced, and it'll be fun. And we'll talk about it tomorrow night, and then we'll get back to the seriousness of basketball because the Nuggets have a tough road coming up. They've got the right schedule to take on tough teams. And really what I want is I really want the Nuggets to shut everyone up that's like, this isn't their year. They're not that good. Nothing about the early season was real. It was just all fake. Like, I really want the Nuggets to actually like show up and kill teams for a while. I would like to see them get back to being the Nuggets. I don't know if that's possible without AG, but we're going to find out. And we'll talk about it starting tomorrow night on Locked On Nuggets. I appreciate you guys being with us. I hope you guys have a great Sunday. Stay safe wherever you are, whatever you're doing. And we will talk to you guys again tomorrow night on Locked On Nuggets. Woo! All-Star! Woo! Jamal should be all NBA. He should really be all NBA. I'm going to start making content for that.